Alrighty, thank you all so much for joining. My name is Morgan Serrano. I am one of the customer success managers here at YellowBird, and I am thrilled to introduce our two YellowBird Pros and also the Safety for Nonprofit representative, Crystal Awadalla and Heather Wolf. I already mentioned that. Anyways, happy International Women's Day to everybody, and happy Women in Construction Week. What a wonderful opportunity that we get a full week for ladies in construction. With that, I'm going to allow Heather Wolf to introduce herself, and then we'll pass it over to Crystal. Heather.
Thank you, Morgan. My name again is Heather Wolf. I am a construction safety facilitator in the Columbus, Ohio metro region. I've been a part of this current program from a pro point of view for the last 2 years, particularly with this contractor or this client for 4 years. So a lot of experiences, a lot of information that I've absorbed. I've been in construction most of my life, so come from the trades, moved into safety, more of a leadership role now. So lots of things have changed, and yet a lot of things are still the same. So looking forward to our discussion today. And again, thank you to Crystal for co-chairing this with me, and for Morgan for putting this all together.
Awesome, Crystal.
I am Crystal Awadalla, and I am a Canadian registered safety professional, which is the equivalent of the US CSP. I have over 20 years experience in various aspects of safety, various pieces, manufacturing, the chemical industry, construction, mining and metals, and also consulting, which I've done with YellowBird now for 4 years, and previously with law engineering and environmental. So I'm excited very much to be here. A lot of things have changed since I started in safety over 20 years ago, and I think for the better. So I think this should be a very good discussion. We can see how far we've come and how far we still have to go. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that introduction. Absolutely. So the three topics that we would love to hit on today, we're going to touch on safety and wellness for women in construction, and then career opportunities for women in construction. And then we will end it with work-life balance and flexibility. I know all of us as women may juggle with many things that we have to do in life while also working at the same time. So that'll be a great note to end on. So to begin, the first question I would like to pose to the two of you is, in light of the unique safety challenges faced by women in construction, particularly regarding ill-fitting PPE and inadequate hygiene facilities, what actionable steps can companies take to address these issues and ensure the safety and well-being of female workers on construction sites? And of course, are there any PPE specific brands that you two would recommend?
Crystal, if you don't mind, I'd like to speak on this one just to start us off. I work with multiple women on construction sites. I bounce between multiple sites. One of the things that we hear most often is our PPE doesn't fit. I wear PPE, it doesn't fit. Most of the PPE is made to fit men, men's bodies, men's figures. Women are round, we are curvy, we are all different shapes and sizes. OSHA and NIOSH currently have proposed Rule 88, which will affect multiple areas of the definition behind properly fitted PPE. And this is extremely important because us as pros and safety professionals have the chance now to get ahead of the curve. There are very few companies that tailor their clothing to fit women. I have shared with Morgan, which she can share out with the group and out with all of our pros. There is a particular brand that has a line of PPE tailored for women. So it's got cinched waist lines, for example. It's got earplugs that aren't as long. So women's ear canals are typically shorter in length. So those big bulky earplugs that stick way off your ears, or the big ear muffs that cover half your face. There are suppliers that have more small options. Harnesses are another example. They no longer run directly across the chest, but instead go up. They don't curve around your thighs anymore. They go straight. Gloves. we're not going to wear our gloves if we don't have dexterity. So there are women designed gloves and vests that have a cinch in the back. They can be branded, they can be plain, they are economic and affordable. And now's the time where we can truly push our contractors and push our trade partners to meet with these companies, have them come in and do a demonstration, have them make you some of these clothes and truly give them a shot. It's going to become mandated at some point. Why not get ahead of it now and start having those conversations? I'm going to turn it over to Crystal in just a second, but we do have one particular company I do want to give a major shout out to. Genco Safety Supply is located here in Central Ohio. They will ship nationwide. They will logo anything for any company. And they have worked very hard to find as many resources across our nation that have women specific PPE. And again, Morgan can share those links with all of you.
Hey, very well said, Heather. So I will say there is a very good article in Professional Safety Magazine that I just it's PPE for women. I don't know. You're probably not going to see that on the screen, but it discusses PPE fit for women, and it discusses Z 590.6 technical report. And so there's a good deal of information there, but what I talk about is that the designers of PPE, just as Heather alluded to, designed the gear to fit a standard male. Just as much as desks were designed to fit a standard 6-foot man or 5'8" man. A lot of the ergonomic tools and things that we used are designed for that average standard white male model that was used in the 1950s. So we are the recipients of PPE that doesn't fit. And the first thing that we need to acknowledge is that if PPE doesn't fit properly, it's actually a hazard. It's dangerous. We can get gloves caught in moving parts, entanglements, trips and falls if, your shoes aren't fitting properly. I can tell you that within the last 5 years, I've gone to purchase safety shoes at a safety shoe shop, and they had maybe 1 or 2 pairs of women's shoes in stock. And I was told, well, if you want anything else, we have to order it. It takes 2 weeks. And then we have a limited amount that we'll actually order. You can only order 2 sizes or 2 styles. So, they really let and discourage you as a woman to be able to find something that actually fits you, which is not appropriate. So, and as far as what can companies do and employers do to encourage women to be able to get equipment that fits, it's basically working with the PPE designers, working with the vendors. So, if first you have to have the PPE designed appropriately, it has to be available to start with. Then the vendors actually have to stock it. So it's no good if there's PPE available for women, but none of the vendors supply it in their stores or in their trucks, or if it's hard to get online and there's a long wait. The other thing that I think of with in terms of female workers on construction sites, when we talk about the inadequate hygiene facilities, is privacy and dignity. So, the other piece of that question was, what can employers do to accommodate or address the issues, not only the PPE issues, but ensure the safety and well-being of female workers on construction sites in terms of hygiene. So, I believe that both men and women deserve clean, good quality hygiene facilities. So, I believe safety is something that all of the departments in an organization really need to work together on. So having your human resources department actually come out to a construction site and actually see what not only the PPE looks like, what the facilities look like, and experience what the female worker is going through on the site. So I think those are all things that would be very helpful from a corporate perspective.
Crystal, I couldn't agree more. I'm gonna support that fully with a few tips that we've used here in our metro. Women that are working in the field aren't treated the same as the women that are working in the office. And that was a big complaint that we saw coming from our field when we talked to the women. One of the major complaints is female hygiene products. We've got them in the trailers in the office. Why don't we have them in the field? So
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that we did to encourage our contractors was not only did we select several units to be women only accessible, but we secured them with some sort of key and lock system, whether it's a combination lock or a padlock. But every woman on site, when they came through orientation, were given access to those. We also bought these really inexpensive little pencil cases. If you are like me and you're old and you had the hard pencil cases, we bought those and stocked every female restroom on our site, both in the field and in the office, with a pencil box that has tampons and pads and wipes in it. So you're not feeling left out when you're in the field. And this is a very inexpensive way that you, your contractors, your vendors, your suppliers can do to make women feel welcome and accepted. It has been one of the easiest things that we have done that has gotten the most appreciation in the field was thank you for not excluding us. Thank you for thinking of us out here. And we do require our office professionals to walk out in the field. You spend a day in the field once a week just so you remember what they're going through. And when they bring something to our attention, there's a reason.
Those are great notes. Absolutely. You know, it makes me think of, I just had a baby. Well, not just, it's been almost 8 months now, and I am having to pump at work. And I'm one of the ladies in the office, but I couldn't even imagine where would I have to pump potentially 3 times a day if I was out on the field. And so I love that you guys are thinking of this. I think it's fantastic and it's extremely important. Alrighty.
Well, and I think,
Yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
I was just going to one more thing. I think, you know, in terms of also the female shape at different times in your life, you have different sizing requirements, and also there's also different things that happen. I mean, we go through menopause, you know, we're having hot flashes. You know, we've just had a baby, we need to have somewhere to pump. Women are different, right? So it's vive la différence.
Mhm.
You know, we just to not only celebrate that, but we need to support it. Companies need to understand that there's a difference.
Absolutely, definitely. So now going into career opportunities for women in construction, I'd like to pose the question of how can women in the construction industry navigate and capitalize on the diverse array of career paths available to them, and what steps can companies take to foster an inclusive environment that promotes leadership and, of course, advancement opportunities for women?
Sure. So I think I would advise that, you know, a woman would look at what attracted them to the industry in the first place. Was it the work? Was it the pay? Being outdoors, being physically active, the technical piece. Think about how you're going to be evolving over the next few years. Where do you want to be in the future? Also, you know, we age, right? And same goes for men in construction or any highly physical job. We age. And as we age, we're maybe not capable of the things that we used to be capable of doing, with some exceptionally physically fit people. So I think, you know, women are uniquely positioned to merge into some of the highly skilled areas in construction. The best dozer operator that I ever had in the mining industry was a woman. You know, very careful about what she did. Some of the best forklift truck operators I've seen have been women. So I think that there's opportunities in different areas for ladies. There's also, of course, management. And I think also women are uniquely suited to be in management, especially these days. Teamwork is much more highly valued than it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And I think women bring that to the table in a way that really corporations should take advantage of. I'll hand that over to you, Heather, and see where feelings are.
Yeah, Crystal, I couldn't agree more. So some of the other things that we can think of is how are we reaching more women? So Morgan, I saw you already added our LinkedIn, but that was going to be one of my suggestions. Go to LinkedIn, look for specific women in construction groups, your local NAWICs, your local trades. They always have a day during the month where they're welcoming an open house. There's weekend opportunities to volunteer. So if you haven't decided what you want to be when you grow up yet, it's a great opportunity to put your foot in the door of a new trade, a new career, a new path. Look for mentors. My husband, I'll use him as an example. He tells me all the time his greatest mentor of his entire career was a woman. So don't be afraid to mentor a man on your sites. Push for higher education. One of the wonderful things that we were able to do on our site was we found a program from Ashland University that is truly a women in leadership training class. It's online. It's something that is fairly inexpensive for most people. And we were able to turn that into a program-wide pilot. We're testing it out across multiple sites in our program to see what value can this bring. And the results so far has been astounding. They're now pushing for that opportunity. Hey, I see this job's open. I might not be completely qualified, but I'm also not qualified. I have different attributes to bring to the table that might not be a degree, but the work experience and the life experience I have is almost as valuable, if not more valuable, than some paper that says I went to college and can take a test. So don't forget to advocate for yourself when it comes to those things. Don't be afraid to apply for a job just because it says minimum requirement is a associate's or a bachelor's. Those are the ones you want to go for the most, because now you have something to show them that I might not have the degree that you're looking for, and I have all of these other skills and subsets that may be of interest to you and may bring more value than just a piece of paper. Not that education isn't important. Again, I believe it very much is. And there are other opportunities to meet a wider group of professionals that can provide better services. And Crystal, I just want to tell you, one of my most experienced operators was a woman. They stuck her in a forklift and left her there. And she was so much more than that. She finally pushed and was able to get in seats of other pieces of equipment. And women are typically more confident in equipment because they're very particular and they're dexterous. So they make better equipment operators, believe it or not. So I'm
I would agree. Yeah.
That.
Sorry, guys. I have a couple of additional things that I would like to add to throw onto the table. One is creating a culture of respect and a zero tolerance for harassment. I think especially when we're dealing with the workplaces that have typically been on the macho scale, very high. I think it's very important that we educate our workforce as to what is acceptable and unacceptable behavior and enforce the standards. We need to have a policy and a procedure in place for harassment, along with the training, but it extends more than that. Everyone benefits when we have a climate and an environment that allows everyone to flourish. And the other thing that I would say is, if you have a good employee and that employee is a woman, promote her. It's great to have role models out there so that your employees can see that yes, it can be a career path for me as well. There is a woman in management in construction like Heather. There's there is a dozer operator or a forklift truck operator or whatever. So I think having those employees in those positions can be very positive for the people that are coming up through your organization.
That's fantastic. And Crystal, there's a comment that was just mentioned in the chat, and absolutely fostering a place where there is a culture that is willing and invested in taking care of everybody, no matter the race or the gender. I think that's a fantastic note. Absolutely. Alrighty, and going into work-life balance and flexibility, what are some effective strategies that women in construction can employ to achieve a healthy work-life balance? And of course, how can companies best support and implement flexible work arrangements to accommodate the unique needs of women in the industry?
So this is a great question. For me, it's know when to unplug. You need to know when to say no. Be willing to say no. We as women sometimes feel like we have to be yes men because we're given a task. You have to learn how to stand your ground and say no. If you're taking on more than you can handle, learn how to delegate. Learn how to politically say, my plate is full. Please offer this to someone else. And it's interesting. I actually had talking points about how the workplace can foster that good work-life balance. You said yourself, Morgan, you just had a baby or recently had a baby. That was one of the things that we've pushed for is nursing areas, both on the construction side and not in the construction field, but in the offices. So women feel like they have a place to go. I can still be a mom and I can still work. I can still leave early and make a pageant or a recital or a soccer game or a swim meet and still be successful at what I'm doing. Not punishing women or men for having an outside life is okay. And know when to set boundaries or a focus time, telling them, blocking out your schedule, saying, this is my time for my family. I appreciate my work. I appreciate my job, and my family will always come first. It's not that I'm not grateful for my job. And at the same time, my family is what matters the most. So just being able to know when to unplug. I had a wonderful role model as a mother growing up. She worked very hard and showed me how to balance between being a full-time working mother and still being successful at home. So I highly encourage you to unplug when you need to unplug.
I would like to add, thank you for that. That's I forget to do that, by the way, Heather. I get to unplug sometimes.
We all do.
Yeah. I think that one of the things that employers can do, and I believe this thread carries on through this entire conversation that we've had here today, is create a focus group. That would be on my agenda, to get a group together of women that are in the field, that are in construction management, and keep that group active and find out what the needs are. I feel that very often companies just forget to ask the employees what they need, but with something like this, you also need to provide a safe space. If a woman is having problems, just like Heather alluded to with, menstrual products being available, she may not want to talk about that to her supervisor in a, end of shift meeting. But if you have a safe space and a focus group has been created and you have management saying, what do you need to be more successful? I need to have an extra 15 minutes a day so that I can go to the bathroom because it's that time. I mean, that is really awkward. And I just want to put that out there because it is very awkward. We have things that happen that, guys just don't have happen. So we need that little bit of I think, safe place. And I think having some kind of focus groups or group where women can vocalize harassed issues, hygiene issues, all of those things that are delicate subjects for us would be extremely positive. The other piece that I think companies can do, and I believe we can do much, much better than we currently do, I believe unique opportunity for companies to look at part-time and flex opportunities differently and supply some work guarantees and maybe benefits over periods of time that would look at the way we perform work differently in a more flexible way. I think that could bring a lot of people into the workforce that maybe can't due to childcare considerations or, shift considerations that they're dealing with in their family. Maybe there's a spouse that has shift work. So I think that there are options from a human resources perspective that have not really been explored to their fullest potential.
That's great. And it's making me think of the kind of unique opportunity that women as even just safety leaders have in your roles when you're going out and doing assessments and audits and looking at things, and even just taking the opportunity to say, hey, I'm the safety leader, and caring about even women's hygiene is important. Let's address that, I think, is a great opportunity to just lead the path for women in construction and really, quite frankly, everybody in any industry. Ladies, thank you so much for your notes and your time today. It's been really fantastic. And thank you everyone for joining. I want to open the floor. Does anyone have any particular questions that you would like to ask either Heather or Crystal? If you do, please feel free to unmute yourself or drop them in the chat. All right. Well, if you do, please feel free to also connect with them on LinkedIn. We will be sending an email out to everyone who attended with all of the links to resources and additional information for Crystal and Heather. Again, thank you all so much. Happy Friday, happy International Women's Day, and happy Women in Construction Week. Thank you all so much. What a great note to end the week on. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.